Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you all are having a great Saturday so far. I meant to do this video, about 3 or 4 hours ago, but it's been a very busy morning. But this is it. Check out Hurricane Ida. There has not really been any huge rapid intensification, but we have a feeling that this is about to start occurring this afternoon. I mean, you look at this, and it doesn't take any kind of rocket scientist to really tell that this is a full-blown hurricane at this point. There is big time hot towers going up, meaning there's a lot of convection blowing up around the center, and there is almost a pinhole eye beginning to form, which is the center of circulation. So everything is clear now. This is really getting going. This is Florida here, so it's well off the western coast of Florida. So it's getting to the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. It's starting to enter a very warm body of water, which is right out here in front of it. And this is escalating very quick. I might have a little bit of good news, but it might not actually come to friction. So I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to give you an update what's going on. And I do want to mention that I will be chasing this. But keep in mind, I'm not going to put myself, in the most dangerous part of this. I'm just going to kind of be observing it from a safe distance. I'm going to put myself in a safe location, and I'm going to be as safe as possible because I do have a family to come back to. But this is the weather. This is my passion. And I've said from the beginning, if you've been a subscriber for a long time, that I don't like to just sit behind a TV screen and talk about it. I like to be in it too, and it's just a passion of mine. So I'm going to be out there. There's a way also in my bio, and I don't like to do this, but it's just a way to support what I do. If you'd like to donate, I have my PayPal set up in my bio. There's also a way to join my channel. I don't have any perks or anything right now that I can give y'all. All I can do is just promise y'all that I'll reply to every single comment, which I try to do regardless, or at least acknowledge it. And it's just a special thanks for sure. But that's an option also. But I just appreciate y'all tuning in. Regardless, subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you haven't, and thank y'all for the amazing support. This has been my biggest growth ever in the last few weeks. So thank y'all for the incredible support. So let's get going. As you can tell, this is Ida right here. Right now, it's an 85-mile-per-hour storm. The next update comes in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and this might get upgraded into a 90 to 95-mile-per-hour storm. But intensification has been kind of slow this morning, but I expect it to ramp up. So let's get going here. Here's a more broader view of the entire Gulf of Mexico. As you can tell, it goes from dark to more lighter. It's because the sun comes up over Hurricane Ida. You notice the flow around the cane like any other northern hemisphere hurricane, but you notice these clouds kind of going this way, going in the opposite way. That is the upper favorable winds that we have been talking about aloft for a very long time. And you see this area right here. This is actually that eastern Pacific storm we were talking about that was a potential could kick out its own outflow. Well, this is likely not going to affect Ida. But you notice these clouds going in this direction. That is that outflow we've been talking about that was going to help ventilate this storm and act as basically a promoting factor for rapid intensification. So this storm is able to create its own environment, which it's doing right now, and continue to intensify. And you can even see that eye even from this far out popping up right here. So this is the real deal, folks. Louisiana's right here, and it looks like the timeline might be speeding up a little bit. So this might be more of a daytime event for the far coastal areas as opposed to overnight. And I'll talk about that here in the latest information we have. This is from the 10 a.m. Central Standard Time update, so 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Forecast to become a major hurricane as early as late this evening and make landfall as a major hurricane. I will mention, we'll take a look at Zoom Earth right here, which is a cool project I like. You can check out SpongeBob and Hey Arnold over there as an ad. But anyways, check it out here. It's still forecast to become a Category 4 hurricane as early as 8 a.m. tomorrow with 130-mile-per-hour winds, and then make a landfall expected as a 130-mile-per-hour Category 4 hurricane. But you notice in yesterday's video, it was 140. So, and I can see why they've actually dropped it by 10 miles per hour. Some of the model guidance is kind of speeding this up, which means it's going to limit the amount of time it's over the Gulf of Mexico. So I think that's why they're saying it might be a little weaker. Remember last night we all prayed and we hoped for the best case scenario. If the best case scenario is for this to only be a Category 3 hurricane, well, we got to work with what we got, right? So hopefully this does not make landfall as a 4 or 5, but we'll see. Look at the latest model intensity from 12Z, so this is right now. Most guidance have this becoming a Category 3, which is a major hurricane. You know, most of it get to that Category 3 threshold. By the time some of you watch this, this might be a Category 2 hurricane. All guidance has it going right into this area. I've been mentioning Lafayette and then Baton Rouge and Louisiana, and then I'm at New Orleans right here. Well, somewhere in between this area obviously points south. This is where it's going to make a landfall. I think there's a city called, what is it called? Morgan City, kind of right in here. There's a town that starts with an H. I can't think, and I wish I would have my Google Maps up to be a little bit more exact for you guys. But there's any communities right in here are going to get hit hard with this. Then you got Louisiana, and Louisiana regardless, New Orleans regardless, it's going to get hit by the dirty side of the storm, which means storm surge is going to really get pushed up, and I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Here comes a storm surge anywhere from 10 to 15 feet from Morgan City to the mouth of the Mississippi. If this makes landfall, say right here, which a lot of guidance has it, right in this area right here. New Orleans is right in this area. Baton Rouge is over here. What happens is these hurricanes, they spin like this in the northern hemisphere. So if it makes landfall here, yes, the center of the storm is not going to go there over New Orleans, but it's pushing all this intense storm surge into this area. And what's happening is you have intense rain falling up here or everywhere, and that's trying to flush back down to the ocean. At the same time, you're getting this hurricane that's pushing the water back in the opposite direction towards it. And that's just going to jam up lakes, ponds, levees, and all the things like that. So it's dangerous. And you look at the latest rainfall guidance. That purple you see is anywhere from 1.5 feet to maybe 2 feet of rain almost. The reds, that's 10 to 15 inches of rain from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, and anywhere in between. So dangerous rainfall falling in this situation. You look at the latest GFS. We'll back it up here. It strengthens this storm into what looks like maybe only a Category 3. So maybe some good news, but at this point, we're kind of looking at visually what this cane looks like. I mean, it's still down here. Still got at least 24 hours over the Gulf of Mexico. And let me tell you, we've seen what these systems can do in 24 hours in the hottest body of the water almost in the entire world, which is the Gulf of Mexico. There's also a very warm area of water deeper down right here that it has to cross. So it hasn't making landfall as early as tomorrow afternoon in southeastern Louisiana. It's maybe just a Category 3 hurricane. I'm sorry to say it's maybe just a Category 3 hurricane. That's a big deal, but you know, if we're trying to pick out the best things, and you know, yesterday it was pretty much set in stone it was going to be a Category 4, and it still could be. Heck, it could still be a Category 5, but for it to be a Category 5, I think we're slowly beginning to back off from maybe that scenario, but it's not out the woods still. Look at the latest HWRF model, and it makes landfall in this area right into here as definitely a full-blown Category 4 hurricane. And you notice Baton Rouge, New Orleans right here are getting slammed by this, basically these onshore winds right here, and basically flooding these areas with storm surge and nasty rain just falling from the system itself. Then you got the intense eye wall. Anybody in this area, these little small communities, smaller towns, unfortunately, it's probably looking pretty bad. Just leave it at that, to be honest. I mean, and this is the latest HWON model, so a little bit more west. But I'm telling you, it's looking like this is going to make landfall into here, which is even worse news for New Orleans, because what's going on is it looks like guidance is ticking east. Not necessarily model guidance, but the storm itself is moving a little bit northeast of the cone, which normally down the road, especially in the short term, which that's all the storm is at this point, is short term, which basically means that it's going to probably take the more northeast path, which would bring it more into this area right here, which spells even worse news for New Orleans. But this is the latest 06Z European, deepens the storm into about a Category 3 hurricane, and then makes landfall. So rough looking scenario here. We'll see if guidance continues to tick east in this area throughout the day, but we'll have to watch it. But definitely a nasty looking scenario here. But this is the latest model run as far as the HWRF with wind speeds, and this is basically 100 to 120 mile per hour winds moving into southeast Louisiana. But granted, you're not going to get, I don't think you're going to get 100 to 120 mile per hour winds in New Orleans. Now, if this thing ticks way east and the center of the storm or the eye wall impacts New Orleans, I really think that's going to be devastating, and I don't know if the levees are going to hold up, to be completely honest with you, as the center of the storm goes over. This is the eye wall, the most intense part of the hurricane, and you just got to pray that it doesn't move directly over New Orleans for real. But someone's going to get hit by it regardless. This is 100 to 120 mile per hour winds moving onshore. I'm sure it'll be even higher than that in some areas. So, and there's two huge factors here. One of it is very high sea surface temperatures, ranging from the mid to upper 80s, pushing almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit in some areas. And there's a warm area of water deeper right in here that the storm is about to go over, which I really think is going to really get this storm going quickly this afternoon. But this is in Celsius, but 30 to 31 degrees Celsius sea surface temperatures is pushing the upper 80s. So dangerous situation. Then you look at the upper level wind patterns here. There's that anticyclonic flow, basically ventilating the storm, promoting a moist and low shear atmosphere. And we just have to watch. We have to watch what's going on. So this is probably my last video on it. My last videos will likely be me going live in the storm. So stay tuned with that. And that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. And thank y'all for the amazing growth. And everybody stay safe. Prayers are up for the entire state of Louisiana and Mississippi. And thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great Saturday.